It looks like this year God decided to cancel Burning Man. Massive rains and flooding has caused the event to not go on as it normally does, making attendees having to stay in their camps. Burning Man attendees are told to conserve food and water. It could be days before the mud dries up to the point where people can actually leave. The Burning Man event is a very paganistic type ritual ceremony, very similar in fact to what the elites go and do in Bohemian Grove, where they go and burn a fake effigy, where they put all their worries and all their wrongdoings in. Again, very paganistic, Babylonian, ancient false god rituals that have gone on since the beginning of time. My prayer is that while these people are trapped there, that everyone of course remains safe, but hopefully seeks down deep within themselves for the truth and fulfillment they're truly seeking, a fulfillment that can only be found through Jesus Christ, the one true living God.
Most of what you're hearing is going on at Burning Man is actually bullshit. Sorry to be crude, but yeah, most of the reports are bullshit. You see, I live in Reno, and most of the people who go to Burning Man come through here because it's the only major airport, unless you have a private jet. And what's going on is it just rained. And because it's the desert, and that's basically a dried up lake bed, that rain turned to mud. So now people are having trouble getting around because they're not used to driving in mud, of course. But I've seen people making videos where they're showing clips of the flash flooding from Vegas and editing it with clips from Burning Man. Vegas is like a 10-hour car trip to Burning Man. Yeah, it's muddy and it's not good. And there's a reason they're telling people not to leave there right now.
Burning Man attendees are being told to shelter in place and conserve resources amid heavy flooding in the area. You can see that woman right there trying to pick the mud off her shoes. Just a complete mess out there. Organizers for the festival posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, that the airport and entrance of Black Rock City, Nevada, where the event is held, are both closed. It also said that no driving is allowed besides emergency vehicles, adding that attendees should try to conserve food, water, and fuel. Those folks won't be going anywhere for a while, it sounds like.
The reason is there's one road, and that road is muddy now too. And that road heads from Burning Man to Reno, where most of the people are going to leave from. There's a town of Gerlach in between there, but Gerlach isn't capable of housing 50,000 people in case they got stuck because they tried to drive through mud. This is not the apocalypse. It's rain in the desert because guess what? It happens. Now, living in Reno this long, I don't give a crap about Burning Man. I have my own reasons. It's not my thing, but I would never go hang out in the desert for a week, getting stinky with a bunch of other people who are getting stinky in the extreme heat when I could just stay home and be stinky on my own. I'm just posting this so I can tell you, don't let the press and the media freak you out. It's not that bad. It's just mud. Shabadoo whiskeys! Shabadoo!
So in my opinion, there are two things that have made Burning Man lose the plot. Number one is the Burning Man airport, or the Black Rock City airport. Number two are the rise of turnkey camps. So for the first one, the Black Rock City airport, or the A8NV, is a temporary airport that gets built up and down every year. And this year they had about 880 flights. The problem with that is one, it's incredibly wasteful and expensive. And two, they always go to these, quote, turnkey camps. Turnkey camps are basically units that have AC, they have private chefs, they have like everything super luxurious, and almost nothing is set up by the person that stays in the turnkey camp. It's almost always done by a staff. One of the major principles that these two break is the principle of self-reliance. That's why when you see something that rarely happens, like a rainstorm in Burning Man, which to be fair, I don't remember a rainstorm that happened in Burning Man ever, they just leave. I kind of find it funny how this is a metaphor to how the privileged are going to deal with the climate crisis that we have today. I'm also curious about all the planes that are stored at the Black Rock City airport and how they're going to get the hell out of here in the upcoming days.
A week ago, Nevada police drove into a climate protest blockade that was blocking the road to Burning Man before pulling out a gun and arresting protesters. And now Burning Man has been declared a natural disaster. The climate protesters were blocking the road to Burning Man and were protesting the festival's use of private jets and overall unsustainable practices, as Burning Man generates over 100,000 tons of carbon dioxide. Minutes after setting up and blocking the highway, quote-unquote burners were not happy, and both physical and verbal conflict began.
Pretty soon we'll have hundreds of cars. We would like to go along, please.
It's a protest.
You guys.
It's a protest.
Yeah,
We're fucking stand. We're all trying to go fucking burn. Dude. Whoa.
You're putting my life.
However, Burning Man goers were not the only people affected and upset about the blockade. Locals from the Paiute tribe, which owns the surrounding area, wanted the blockade gone. Even though this woman made clear that she lives on the reservation, was on the opposite side of the traffic jam created.
I'm sorry we're doing this for...
I don't give a shit. Get off the reservation. Get out of here. God.
She still had to physically fight the quote-unquote climate protesters to get through.
We live on here, this land. You guys don't. Go back to where you came from.
A few cars were able to get past the blockade, and just 26 minutes after protesters had set up, officers from the Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribal Police Department came saying,
Man, get off the highway. This is a state route. Everybody will be arrested, if not. 30 seconds. Send your leader to my vehicle. Let's talk. Get off the fucking road.
And then 37 seconds later, a second officer arrived on the scene and drove through the blockade. This officer then said,
I'm gonna take all of you out. You better move. You're gonna go next.
before pulling out his gun and arresting the protesters.
Get out now! Get out! On the ground! All of you on the ground now! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
This officer is now under investigation for excessive force. The protest was successful in backing up traffic for several miles on the way to Burning Man. Now, just a week later, Burning Man has been declared a natural disaster. A slow-moving rainstorm has turned the desert into extreme mud, and the over 73,000 attendees of Burning Man are told to shelter in place.
Are that there's some sort of virus on the loose at Burning Man that causes boils, vomiting, hemorrhaging.
This is a real thing, and this is what they're concerned about. So, hi. This is not medical advice, but I am a nurse. I have 50% of a doctorate and a telehealth company that provides supplemental advice to things healthcare workers no longer have time to cover in the day-to-day. So this is a real thing, and it's a concern. If you have any open skin, bites, scratches, and you get mud in there, you could get this. Leptospirosis happens in places like Hawaii, Puerto Rico, South India, where there's a lot of rainfall and then flooding related to the mud. It's called rat fever in some places. I know, super scary, right? You never want anything called rat fever. Don't worry, there's treatment. But if you don't get treatment, it could get really, really bad. Where like pulmonary hemorrhages and pretty scary things like that creator described. I don't know about the boils though, but like the hemorrhaging and the meningitis, that's real. But more commonly, the first bucket of symptoms is going to be fever, uncomfortable bathroom moments, tiredness, vomiting, fever, typical illness stuff. I'm sorry I got out of bed to make this TikTok. I'm very tired, but I'm very nerdy, so I really like sharing information. So yeah, there's no vaccine for humans. It's bacteria, and there's a lot of different variations of it. Yale did maybe make a vaccine last year, and there's a vaccine for dogs. There is treatment. Follow me for part 2 if you care about antibiotic TikTok, but yeah, leptospirosis. So yeah, really, really, folks, be careful. Even if you're like camping in a place that floods, for like Hawaii or Puerto Rico, like just, be sure you don't have any open cuts, wear boots, be safe, that kind of thing. Yeah. Thanks for following Nurse Talk.
Alright, just some more videos of what it looks like. I mean, our feet are like completely covered in mud. I've been walking around barefoot for a while, but I finally switched back to boots. But it's pretty hard to walk out here. Hey guys, a lot of people are asking me about the truth of Burning Man, like what's actually happening. So what's actually happening is that yes, there are 70,000 people trapped here. We cannot fly out, we cannot drive out, we cannot bike out. Pretty terrifying actually. You know, in some ways it's been fun, in some ways it's been scary. The ways it's been scary is a lot of people that are in tents and that are in yurts are completely flooded. A lot of people have run out of food and water, and some people are stealing things because that's what happens when things get weird. There's a little bit of this like Lord of the Flies vibe, if you remember that book, where things just might get really weird. So we're okay today, but I think it might get worse. We've also heard of vandalizing of art, which is pretty terrifying. But the good news is that most people right now, the sun came out for a second. Most people are in high spirits. There's music playing, people are dancing. People are still preserving a lot of energy because that's something that might happen. The big storm's supposed to come tonight and Sunday, which means we might be here till Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. It just depends, and we don't even know. Like, we don't even know what's gonna happen, which is pretty scary. Personally, we have enough tuna for the next month, so I'm okay, but
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
Okay, friends, so 70,000 people are stranded at the Burning Man event in Nevada. In Black Rock, Nevada, I should say. And if you don't know about the Burning Man, oh, here we go. Labeling it a Sodom and Gomorrah style event is really an understatement. This is really disgusting. Also, it's being said that they're stuck in mud, and actually it's not mud. It's called playa dirt, and it's super alkaline. You're not supposed to be running around in it barefoot or naked like they're doing. And who knows what else. I mean, we can all guess because of the headlines that come out of this event. But yeah, super disgusting, right? Anyway, to continue, people are stranded. Their vehicles are stuck right where they were. They're being asked to conserve food and water. It's just a wild situation. As you can see here, this person found out their therapist was at Burning Man, which, yeah, that wouldn't be my therapist anymore. I'm just going to throw that out there. And just to make things more exciting, there's rumors that there's some kind of a virus spreading at the event. Some are saying that it's Ebola, but the news is being quick to shut that down and saying that it's not Ebola. But, you know, this whole thing's crazy. You wouldn't catch me dead at one of these events. This is so disgusting. As you saw the tweet about the F plane, I mean, give me a... And I mean, I'm not going to even go into any more detail about that. If you want to know, you go Google it. But, yeah, everybody, crazy stuff. All I can say is most of the people who are watching this or listening to this are probably glad they don't go to events like this. And as always, friends, stay woke. Happy Sunday.
Third time recording this, keeps getting deleted. This is going to be a disaster, though. Ebola or not. Listen, the fact that Elon Musk uses X as his like personal billion-dollar troll farm, and you can't even get legitimate and breaking news from sources you can trust. Like, I've had friends, I mean, everybody lost their verification. I lost my verification. It was like, who cares if I lose it? But like, for somebody like my friend who works for ABC News, who covers like confirmed breaking news events, it's a big deal, because now we're looking at a 12-year-old in a basement who can start a rumor about Ebola and fake a tweet from the CDC and post it, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, Ebola at Burning Man. But with or without Ebola, it's still a really bad situation. This is a bunch of rich-ass people who come there to like dress up as fairies, be like unicorns, and then they have to like barter stuff, and now they're not bartering for fun. They're going to be bartering.
This is a bad situation, right? And a lot of people are stranded until Monday when they open the vehicle gates. But it's just so ironic that those protesters were occupying the one road to get into this place. We're occupying it in protesting for climate change. And then they all get stuck on a prehistoric lake bed turned desert. Like, you gotta find the humor in a situation, right? And that's pretty comical. I just wonder about, like, the leave no trace thing, right? These people who were hiking for 6 or 3 miles or however many miles, depending on where they were at Burning Man, to get to the nearest road. Do you think they're coming back Monday to get their stuff? And if so, will it be stuck in the mud because they didn't move it in time? And also, this Diplo Chris Rock TikTok of them in the back of some random man's truck with some luggage and some other people is the wildest TikTok I've seen. It was just the most random TikTok I've seen as of 2023. This and the video of Tom Sandoval, like, trying to grab that chair and that fight breaking out, like, happened in the same day. And I think this one was the one I was more shocked about.
Let's talk about what's going on at Burning Man right now. So, first you need to understand where Burning Man is located. Burning Man is located about 3 hours north of Reno, just outside of Gerlach. And to get there, most of the way is one road, one lane, going both ways. And then when you get to Greenwich, a little bit after that, there's a 4-mile stretch of like playa that you have to go through in order to get to the actual venue. So getting there is not quick. Yes, they have their own airport there, but they don't have access to the runway right now because of how bad the mud is. And the reason why the mud is so bad is because Burning Man, where it's located, is actually a dried up lake. So the dirt is extremely alkaline. You cannot walk around barefoot. Otherwise, you get something called playa foot. It literally sucks out all of the moisture from your skin, and you can end up with these like really deep cracks that are almost impossible to get rid of. You can get rid of it, but like after like months. The only way to get the playa dust like off of you or off of anything is with vinegar. Otherwise, it can even like rust metal. So when water interacts with the playa dust, it doesn't just like become sloshy. It gets like sticky and it builds up and it cakes and it just like gets into everything. And the only way to get rid of it is for it to completely dry out. So that mud just cakes and cakes and cakes on itself and it becomes very heavy. So it's impossible to actually like get moving with also not getting stuck in the mud. That's why everyone is being told to shelter in place, because you physically like cannot get out of the mud, but also there's that 4-mile stretch of road that you would think is quick, but you cannot drive fast on that 4 miles. Like last year, Exodus, it took us 11 hours to do those 4 miles. That mud needs to completely dry out in order for anybody to actually get moving. And it's supposed to rain tomorrow. Burn night is tonight, and then they burn the temple tomorrow. So most people leave like tomorrow or Monday, but people are probably going to be stuck there until like Tuesday, until the dirt can completely dry out and everybody can get moving, which is concerning because most people only accommodate food and water for the allotted time that they're there for. So getting supplies in there is also really tricky because they can't get to them. Let's not forget, there's about 80,000 to 100,000 people out there. So all of those people, also everyone trying to get on their phones is impossible. Like service is impossible out there. So you can't really contact anybody. Like when we're out there, we literally have a radio station that we can like tune into to hear about like updates about like traffic, about like anything. So they can't really like talk to much people out there. So 80 to 100,000 people are stuck out there with nowhere to go, limited supplies. The porta potties are not being serviced. Thankfully, it's only going to rain for one more day, and even though one of like our main principles is like radical self-reliance, it's also like radical sense of community. So I'm sure a bunch of people out there are like banding together and like figuring it out, and like supplies are being distributed for what they do have to people who like might not, because the people who are like just roughing it out intense, like they're getting hit fucking hard. I was supposed to be out there performing tonight, and I was honestly having FOMO, but now I'm just like really concerned, and I feel bad for the virgins. Like their first year out there, and it's rough. It's rough. Everyone's gonna be okay. It's just gonna be a rough couple days.
Drive your vehicle. Do not ride your bike. Do not push your bike around. Remain where you are. Secure structures and belongings in your camp. Don't operate generators or other electrically powered instruments that are standing in water. Cover or secure anything electrical. Check on your campmates and neighbors to make sure they're okay and help them as needed. And take advantage of a moment of calm to connect with campmates and hunker down. Stay safe out there, Black Rock City. More reports coming from the BMIR traffic choppers soon. Now back to the studio.